Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. And today I'm so excited because we have our very special guest. It is Carol Ann, and she is from the SottoPelle Therapy, and she is an amazing woman. Her husband was the founder, Gino, and she is keeping his legacy alive. She is just amazing how she just helps so many people worldwide help themselves, women help themselves with hormonal imbalance and also with her encouraging stories, as unfortunately she had lost her husband, but she was determined to keep his legacy and what he's done to help so many millions of women worldwide. She is running solo petty therapy, and she's also has been an advocate to help women. And today she wants to talk about owning your power, hurdles and triumphs as a female entrepreneur of multiple companies, as well as knowing your fine art of standing behind your no, which I like a lot. And, today I am so excited to have you on the show. And I just want to remind people that she is part of our podcast community. She has her own podcast on our show. So you could actually, either type her name in, you can go on to the advisor with Stacey Chillemi and find her, or you can go on to any distribution channel and just type her in, and her podcast will come up. And they're just amazing. She taps into a lot of great topics, not just hormone therapy, but she taps into a lot of things about helping yourself overcome a lot of the issues, especially after you lose a loved one or you're trying to get through, the changes in life, as we get older. She taps into it all. So I encourage you to go and listen to her podcast. They are just truly amazing. CarolAnn, as always, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. I love having you on the show. You're amazing. And I love this, topic that you're going to talk about. Before we begin, can you just give people a little bit about who you are and what you represent? Because anyone that hasn't listened to the podcast, they could just get a little info about you.
Yeah, I would love to, and thanks for having me again. My late husband, Dr. Tutera, and I started the company SottoPelle, and it is a training company and education company for providers to learn how to use pellets. So you may go, what's a pellet? Well, when we went from Kansas City to Rancho Mirage, California, back in the early 90s, a gentleman came up to him and said, would you like to help put in a pellet? And he said, sure. What's a pellet? So Dr. T, my late husband, felt that he truly found the last missing piece of the puzzle for working with bioidentical products for women. So he worked with them along with the provider. Sadly, a couple months later, the provider had passed away who taught him, and he inherited a group of patients who were flying in literally from all over the country. You see, it wasn't really well known then because they were great up until about the 40s or 50s, made by a few compounding pharmacies. Pellets have been around since 1939, which shocks everybody. But in the 50s and 60s, the drug reps started handing out little colored Premarin pills to their patients. If this one doesn't feel good, make you feel good, let's try this color. The red, the blue, the yellow. My late husband always said he felt like he was giving out just nothing but Tic Tacs to everybody or M&Ms all day long. So with the pellets, he actually studied them and put the science behind them of knowing I've got to do lab work with these to find out exactly what you need. And hey, wait a minute here. I've got to individualize the dosing for you. He realized he was taught to give everyone the same dose. Not only that, he was giving everyone, all the females, way too much estrogen and not enough testosterone. He truly was a one of a kind, brilliant, compassionate physician who worked with his patients, wanted to understand what these pellets really did. So he discovered the individualized dosing. He developed a multi-patented dosing site because he wanted to train as many physicians as possible to get the word out to as many patients across the US as possible. So I'm carrying on that legacy because he deserves to be known as the guy. He truly is the OG of pellet therapy. There's nobody else can claim this whatsoever. And I'm thrilled to carry it on for him. He deserves it.
Mm.
Changed a lot of lives, mine including.
That is truly an amazing story. I know, it was so funny because I met somebody that was actually treated by your husband, and she swore by the pellets, how it changed her life. It was just truly an amazing experience. She went from one extreme, how she was feeling when she started going into perimenopause and menopause, and how she felt once your husband treated her with the
Mhm.
pellets. She was just like a whole new woman all over again. And it was a wonderful feeling for her. And now that I commend you for, because now that he's gone, you still keep his legacy alive. And not only that, but you also, from the experiences of being a female entrepreneur and doing it all by yourself now, you've really, you have developed such a strong resilience, and you have really overcome many obstacles, not just the grief of losing him, but also a lot of the responsibilities that you had to endure after your husband passed. And I'm sure that has been, a challenge and obstacle for you. Maybe you could share a few words of how you were able to really overcome all these challenges.
I think I'm still overcoming them because I'm a female in a male world and I'm not a physician. I'm on that edge of knowing too much.
Hmm.
And because I lived with it for so many years, I know just enough to
Yeah.
be, on that gray area, you might say.
Yeah.
Um, but I am the first female who really started in this industry with him. I was the gal behind the guy who
Yeah.
did all the marketing and the papers and the research and the study. I pulled together an incredible team for him. So it's been having to overcome the fact that I'm not a physician. I'm not someone who really was in the limelight before, and now I
Yeah.
am. And I'm running these companies basically on my own with advisory boards, but still it falls on me. And it's a lot of responsibility to have all these employees and all these physicians we're training. When you talked about your friend who was treated by him and what a blessing that was for her, because he truly was incredible. I got a phone call yesterday out of the blue from a physician we trained in Florida 15 years ago
Hmm.
who wanted to call and talk to me just to say hi and thank me again for training her to do it the right way. She's out in Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. She said there are so many people who have ruined pellets out there. She's
Wow.
calling to ask me, how do you keep these people safe? How is it that you um, not allow all these other people who say they're such experts at it, maybe took a course or for a weekend.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You know, I said, because I know we're good at what we do.
Hmm.
And since we are, they will find you. I've always been a believer of you build it and they will come.
Right.
I just really think so.
Oh,
And then my
yeah.
other favorite is you got to spend it to make it. And I told this to physicians years ago, first starting out. You've got to tell everybody what you're doing. You've got to talk. And we had a group of women who came in to see us in Rancho Mirage when Dr. T had the practice. Well, one was a patient from here in Scottsdale who was a pilot with her own plane. She was constantly flying people over. And I would hear people in the waiting room, these women, la 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 la, la, you know how we can get so excited and talkative. And they were happy to be there. And I don't know if you know Palm Desert, but it's such a fun, cute little town. And they've got a great shopping strip that everybody goes to on El Paseo. And they were all excited to be there and excited to get hormones.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the excitement was about. So I started talking to them. And then,
Hmm.
of course, I got on the hormone train also because at 42, I was a mess. The
Yeah.
insides of a 70-year-old woman. I was shocked.
Yeah.
So we brought the whole company over here to Scottsdale because of one person. So one person makes a big difference. They really do. And those girlfriends were telling girlfriends,
Yep.
which is how we built our practice here. It was all word of mouth. And it was it still is.
Yeah.
Still is word of mouth.
That's truly amazing. It's wonderful that you and your husband were able to really formulate this business and to build it, and just the referrals itself shows you how people have gravitated to you because they see the positive results. They see what you're doing.
Mm.
They see how you're changing people's lives, and it makes a difference because I also am on hormone therapy. And I know, I started at 39 and, I saw the difference once I got on hormone therapy. I was like a whole new person and it works. And I felt, I felt like a younger person again. I didn't feel, because I felt like a 70-year-old, just like you did. I
Yeah,
just felt like I
it's
was
awful.
dragging my feet. I couldn't get out of bed. I was so fatigued and a bunch of other symptoms that went along with it.
Well, I'm laughing because now I am 70. So I'm 70 in a couple of months. So even when I hear that, I have to start laughing because no one believes that I'm close to 70.
You don't.
So
You don't act it. You don't look it,
no,
You don't.
no, I
You don't.
don't. So I'm gonna have
Wonderful.
I'm gonna have to stop change saying that. I'm gonna have to change something in there. So yeah, it's kind of comical. When I was in my 40s, the 70s felt so far away, and now that I'm just knocking on that door, I go, oh my God, now I am there.
Well, the
So
average 70-year-old does not act like that. He does not act like you do. So
right,
it is a actually it is a good thing that you say because like wow, she's 70, she looks like that, she acts like that because
right.
most 70-year-olds don't, So it's truly an amazing, thing to be able to feel like you're 30 when you're 70,
Right,
and it
yeah.
shows.
Well, and that is the benefit of pellet therapy. The pellets are placed under the skin in the hip area, and the blood goes by it. It's like a kid licking a lollipop. The
Right.
faster the heart rate goes, the more it goes by the pellet. When the body's at rest, the slower it goes by. So it doesn't need as much. And it's constantly always there when you need it, 24/7.
Right.
That's the beauty of pellets, and they physiologically take you back into when you were in your 30s, which is now I'm going to reverse that saying
Hmm.
that now that I'm in my 70s, I'm going to be like I am in my 30s. So
Right.
that's pretty darn exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting. And I must say, you look amazing for your age. You don't look like your age. You don't act like your age.
Now that, well, that's one thing I never have.
Now, you
That's
talked about owning your own power, like the hurdles and triumphs as a female entrepreneur of multiple companies, as well as of knowing the fine art of when to say no, And can you go a little bit deeper into that?
I also own SottoPelle, which is the training side. There's Tutera Medical, the offices. SottoPelle's the training side. And then the product line to support everything is Kytera. And I know how to pivot really fast. Some people are not happy when I pivot real quickly, but that's just a fact of life. You either can flow with it or you can't. And I'm got a real ability somehow to know when to pivot to make that right decision. And sometimes I've made it within a week of making a decision, and it was the best thing I've ever done for me. I truly listen to myself, which is extremely important. I
Yeah.
don't really say that I have one guru that I listen to. That to me, my guru is within me. That's how I know, and that's who I listen to. When I have to say no, whew, I really mean no. And it's
Yeah.
not very often that I say no. It really is not. But when I do, I mean it. And my team knows that I'm a stickler for deadlines,
Hmm.
that we have to meet goals. And it took a long time to get to this place
Right.
because I wanted to please everybody. I wanted everyone to like me. And then it got to a point, wait a minute, if I'm running this company, I can't be everybody's best friend.
Right.
That does not work. So I really had to change that mindset
Yeah.
and move into more of the managerial owner position.
Hmm.
And this is the way we're going to do things. So I really learned how to even state what we were doing and how we were doing it completely different. Yeah.
Right. I love that about you. I love that you're able to really look at things realistically and really, see what they are as they are, and then really go with your gut. And
Mhm.
then, I think it's, they talk about we have three brains, our mind, our heart, and our gut, and knowing how to balance all three. And when you're able to do that, you're able to make good decisions and really be able to accomplish your goals and be the person that you want to be.
Right, because if you think about it, normally women are uh, we're made to talk to other women. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just really it. But I grew up having girlfriends, but I didn't share everything with them because I never wanted a thousand opinions coming back to me.
Yes.
Fortunately or unfortunately, I think I wired like a guy where
Mhm.
I've got that male energy aspect.
Yeah.
Uh, Keep it to yourself, think it through yourself, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I know others are not who are in my inner circle, but your opinion doesn't really matter to me because the only thing
Right.
that matters is my opinion.
Right.
I'm the only one living my life in my shoes.
Right.
You can go be you and I'll be me. And that's
Exactly.
okay.
And that's a beautiful thing because not a lot of women can do that. A lot of women worry about what others think, and even men too. They worry about, what the other person is thinking. They compare themselves to what others are doing and how others are reacting, and that holds people back. And one of the biggest thing is when I work with women and even when I interview them, the hardest thing for people to do, especially women, is say no.
Oh, it's very hard for us for some reason. My generation was raised that we always took care of the house, the home, the
Yeah.
children, the husband, very much modeled like my mother.
Right.
Now, I have a younger sister, 11 years apart.
Hmm.
You'd think we were raised by two different parents, completely two sets, because
Yeah.
her mindset is, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
That comes first.
Hmm.
Me? Oh my gosh. I never did. Oh, no. That goes against the grain of my fabric of who I am.
Yeah.
But I can understand her position. It gives her more freedom. So
Hmm.
I'm learning to step out of the box and go, hey, wait a minute. I can do that too. There's no reason I can't. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of retraining when it comes to women, and we have to learn how to say no. And
Yes.
you say no to take care of yourself,
Right.
not anybody else. You're not saying no to them. You're saying, no, I'm taking care of me. And this is the way I need to do this for me.
Yes.
That's my feeling about it.
And I think you're right on track. And the biggest problem is that I find that a lot of women, they feel guilty and they don't want to take care of
Mhm.
themselves first. They put their family first and then they put everything else around them first. And then they're always the last one to take care of themselves. When in fact, if you can't take care of yourself, how are you able really to take care of others?
Well, and example, when you fly,
Hmm.
who puts on the mask first should there be a problem? You do.
Right.
Because if you're not able to take care of you, how are you going to put the mask on your children?
Exactly.
So it they really took an idea that was just brilliant, but it needs to funnel into everyday life now of to everybody.
Yeah.
I got to take care of me, so I'm there to take care of you. I
Right.
mean, my late husband said it so well that there is a wheel and there are so many spokes in it. And the woman's job are all these spokes. And if something goes down, well, then the whole wheel just falls apart. It's just not possible.
Right.
So I
True.
think, when he came up with that, that was brilliant. It really
Yes.
was.
It is brilliant. It's so true. It's so true. What is your advice to women when it comes to really being able to take care of themselves and to be able to say no? Like, what are some advice that you have for women to change their mindset and start really looking at things in a more constructive manner that will not only help themselves, but it will help the people around them, their families, and their overall way of how much they can accomplish in reaching their true potential.
One of the things that I learned after I got divorced many years ago, I started really thinking about me and who I am. And it took a lot of strength. I started posting little stickers all over of just positive affirmations, positive statements. I mean, this was before that whole spiritual growth really took off
Mhm.
of really paying to yourself. And I think it's important we really get back to that and keep telling yourself those positive words, those positive statements, and you've got to say it over and over and over.
Yes.
Now, I was listening to somebody a couple months ago, and she said that it takes 31 days now. It used to be 28. Interesting that we've expanded time to 31 days for it to really stick.
Yeah.
And her belief is you say the same thing for 15 minutes over and over and over every day for 31 days.
Right.
So everybody's twist and philosophy on how you talk to yourself is different. You got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
And you have to really believe in your body and soul that you're the only one in here.
Yeah.
But you allow all these other people up in that brain of yours to constantly talk and give advice. And why?
Yeah.
Why? Why give over your power to all these other people? It makes no sense whatsoever. And we
Right.
do it so easily. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it too. Trust me. I'm not on the other side of that yet.
Yeah.
My gosh, but we do. We just allow a lot of thoughts running in our brain. I think I read there were something like 70,000 thoughts going through your head in a day.
Yep.
That's ginormous.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on upstairs. No wonder I'm so tired at night. I literally just, that's it. Hit the pillow, I'm passed out.
Right.
As of course I listen to my Calm app and try and zone out. I like listening to a train these days on the track.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But that's what I do. You've got to find your pathway, your lane to stay in that really works for you. And I found that, I use Calm at night to sleep. I listen to background music.
Yes.
Sometimes it's rain, sometimes it's the water and the beach. Right now, I'm on a train ride at night. So,
Right.
and then just constantly talk to yourself, give yourself the positive statements. It's very rare to have somebody in your life who truly listens and doesn't give feedback.
Yeah.
If you can find that one person who's there for you, who just listens, gives
Yeah.
positive feedback, to me, you've got a gold mine of a friend. You
Right.
really do. Because as women, we are so trained to give advice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you've got to do it this way. You've got to do it that way. Oh, no, you're doing it all wrong. This is what you should do. Says who? Says
Exactly.
who?
That
So,
so good. So true.
mhm.
Now, if you had to take today's conversation and you really wanted to look at some of the aspects we talked about today, what are some of the important things you'd like to emphasize on?
I think the biggest thing is get to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to know who you are. What is your body saying to you? What kind of thoughts are going on in your head? Journal. Just sit with a journal and write down those thoughts. And if you find they're negative, turn them around and put a positive in place and start paying attention to the positives instead of the negatives.
Right.
Listen to yourself, trust yourself. Your gut will never send you in the wrong direction. And guess what? If it does, that's okay because
Mm-hmm.
you can pivot. And
Right.
pivoting is okay. I've done it multiple times within the company, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
And that's good. Now,
Yeah.
if you had to if you had to describe all the services you provide, can you explain to everybody the different services that you provide and where they can find them?
Well, our biggest one is, of course, the pellet therapy for hormones for females and for males. You can find us at SottoPelle Therapy, SOTTO, P as in Peter, ELLE therapy.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. And then my own is Catitude with Cat on Instagram.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything before we go that you'd like to say?
I think we got it all in, Miss Stacy. I think
All
we had
right.
a wonderful time chatting about women and how we can really start paying attention to take care of ourselves.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Well, this has been amazing, Carol Ann. I love having you on the show, and you're just an amazing person. And I really do commend you. You have created something so beautiful with your husband and your late husband as he passed. You continued, to pull everything together when things were really hard. And as you said, you're still getting over a lot of the obstacles that you endure because when we lose someone, we never really get over it. We just learn, slowly how to cope with it.
Yeah.
And you're doing a magnificent job doing that. And I really just want to commend you for that. And I wish I can give you a hug right now because
Oh, thanks.
you're just
I'll
an
take
amazing
it.
woman. Yes, I just you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job just, helping others, helping yourself. And now you're going out there and you're not only, sharing the legacy of your husband, but you're explaining to a lot of women out there, how they could help themselves. Not just, through hormone therapy, but mentally. The things we go through as we get older, the obstacles we have to endure as we go down, our pathways. We all go through the same things,
Mhm.
and your advice is just phenomenal. So I just want to say thank you just for being you because you're just an amazing woman.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're
Oh,
you're so welcome. I really look forward to our next conversation and thank you so much for being on the show today.
thank you.
Bye bye.